which I cite a lot, is the important case to look at. In the Kosovo elite, a group of them, they unilaterally declared independence. And the case came before the International Court of Justice, and the ICJ said that the international law does not prohibit anybody declaring independence. International law does not prevent you from declaring independence. And the ICJ then went into history of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. And they said that declaration of independence was something that was not rare at all in the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Very common. And each group or each territory that declared independence was opposed by the state against which such declarations were made. So it is nothing new. If we Yoruba said we want to be independent, it is nothing new for the government of Nigeria to say we don't agree. But the fact of the matter is this, that international law did not prohibit the declaration of independence. And what happened in the second half of the 20th century was the emergence of the law of self-determination, which is a UN law, really, an international law of self-determination, which created the right to independence for all peoples, really, including the Yoruba people. And this has never been opposed by the United Nations Security Council, except in situations where the declaration of independence was accompanied by violence. If you did it without violence, the Security Council is not going to do anything to prevent you from declaring independence. And this was so the declaration of independence by Kosovo did not involve violence. The elites got together, they made a declaration, and that was it. And that's what we expect our Oba'S to do, the Yoruba Oba to do as well. We don't expect the Oba to be, carrying guns or whatever. But if they declared emancipation of the Yoruba nation today, it will be lawful. It will be lawful. But there's a proviso. The declaration of independence has to be made by non-state actors. That is, it cannot be made by people who are already involved in government. And that's the thing in the Kosovo case, was that the people who declared independence, they were not involved in the constitutional framework of their country. And they made the declaration of independence, I'll read it to you, because no mutually acceptable status was possible. That is, they couldn't find any other way out other than the independence of Kosovo. And they also declared independence because it made the future of the Kosovars very clear. It clarified their future. And that is what the Oba'S will be doing to us as well. There is no mutually acceptable status in Nigeria at this point in time. And if the Oba'S declare emancipation, it clarifies our future as Yoruba people. It says to us that our traditional leaders have seen that this is the future for the Yoruba land. So the Oba will not be acting or intending to act as in the capacity of the government. No. They will be acting in their own capacity as the people that our tradition and our culture has selected as our voice. So to summarize, because as we said, we're going to let me speak for a short period so that there's plenty of time for discussion. So to summarize the law, and I know that there are lawyers in the house, to summarize the law, there is no legal impediment whatsoever to a conference of Oba to declare the emancipation of the Yoruba nation. There's no legal impediment whatsoever. Nigeria's 1999 constitution does not prohibit such a declaration. International law does not prohibit such a declaration. All that is required is for a group of Oba'S to have enough courage and conviction to make the declaration. And to be noteworthy, in order for people to take notice of it, it will require more than a handful of Oba'S to just make the declaration. In the Conference of Oba in the 1930s to 1940s, there were more than 50 Oba'S attended those meetings. It's interesting that the meetings of the conference in 1931 moved from city to city. So it wasn't just in one place. They went to Oyo, they went to Ilefe, Ijebu, Benin. So the meetings were held in different places. Now, before I go on, there's something that I put as a note here. So just because there are a lot of people who think that there's a hierarchy of Oba in Yoruba land, there isn't any. No Yoruba Oba is superior to another Oba. No, I'll say that again. No Yoruba Oba is superior to another Oba. That is the essence. That is the beauty of the governance arrangement that our forefathers gave us. The Yoruba nation was a collective of fully independent autonomous city-states. So each Oba had his own city, Ilu, that he was responsible for, and one Ilu is equal to another. It doesn't matter whether it is small Ilu or big Ilu. That is why the governance structure is exactly the same all over Yoruba land for each city-state. And one thing that I need to remind us is that the importance of city-states changes. In the 19th century, for example, Ketu was a very, very important city-state in Yoruba land. Today, Ketu is only a small place. And it has lost its prominence. So when people say, talk about the Ooni of Ife, he is only prominent because the Yoruba believe that Ife was their place of origin. That's it. It is only for this reason that the Ooni of Ife was allowed to preside over the 1931 to 42 Conference of Oba'S. The Olubadan of Ibadan, he became prominent because Ibadan provided the military power, the military leadership to fight the Fulani when they invaded Yoruba land in the 1800s. That's why it was prominent. The Oba Oyo was prominent, the Alaafin was prominent because he provided political leadership which got the Yoruba together to sign a treaty with the British in 1888. So the prominence of the Ooni or the Olubadan or the Alaafin is not because they are higher in hierarchy. No. In Yoruba land, one Oba is exactly the equal of another Oba. There's no difference. So I just thought I'll bring that before people start saying, oh, well, the conference has to be organized by the Ooni or by the Olubadan Oba. No. Any Oba in Yoruba land is equal to another Oba, and any Oba in the Yoruba land can be a convener of this conference of Oba that I will mention. And I'm just going to briefly talk about how I think an Oba who decides to be a convener, how he can do it. It's simple, especially now that we have Zoom, which we use to talk to each other. We have Zoom, we have telephone, we have all sorts of gadgets. All he has to do, all the Oba has to do, whoever he is, is to canvass support amongst his colleagues for a declaration of emancipation. So he takes his phone, he phones this Oba, he phones that Oba, he talks to this one, he talks to that one. He then has a list. After he's spoken, he will then have a list of the Oba who are in favor of the declaration. Those Oba in favor automatically become conference of Oba. If I say that again, all the convener, any Oba who wants to convene the conference so that they could declare emancipation for Yoruba land, all he has to do is to pick up his phone, use his WhatsApp, use his email to contact as many Oba as he knows or he can contact, and then find out among them who is in favor of emancipation for the Yoruba land. And once he has got that number, that is the conference of Oba. The next thing that step 2 is this. The convener will then prepare a draft document. He will prepare a draft document, that is the document of Declaration of Emancipation. And for me, it will be something as simple as this. We could just simply write, we, the Conference of Yoruba Oba, on this day, solemnly make this declaration of emancipation of our Yoruba nation. Full stop. That's it. One sentence. He doesn't have to write loads of stuff. No. Just simple, straightforward. We, the Conference of Yoruba Oba, on this day, solemnly make this declaration of emancipation of our Yoruba nation. That's it. He then again picks up his phone the people that had agreed to be on the conference and says to them, this is the document that I propose that we all sign and then publish. And then step 3, so he has a list right at the beginning of those who are in favor. He then drafts the document and he then gets another list of Obas who are happy with the document that he has written. Once that is done, step 3 is simply for the convener to hold a press conference, perhaps accompanied by a few of his colleagues, a handful of Obas, and for him to read out the declaration in public. He doesn't have to do anything else. Okay. This is what our Oba, this is the gravity of the position of the Oba. He doesn't have to say anything at all. He doesn't have to do anything at all. All he has to do is simply come to the conference and just read this simple declaration. We, the Conference of Yoruba Oba, on this day, solemnly make this declaration of the emancipation of our Yoruba nation. That's it. That's the job done. It doesn't have. That is what the tradition, our tradition, demands of our Oba. Our Oba is not to be going around negotiating with people, going around leading protests. That's not what our Oba is. The position of the Oba is a solemn position. And all the Oba has to do is what we've just described. It is then left to us artists. So once the Oba, and that's the way it used to be done in the past, in the olden days. After the Oba has made the declaration, we activists then take it up. And believe me, if a declaration of emancipation is made by a conference of Oba in Yoruba land, that is the exit of Yoruba land from Nigeria. There's absolutely nothing that anybody, because with that document, we can take that document anywhere. We activists can take that document everywhere, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world, all over the Western countries, to say, this is what our Oba in Yoruba land, this is what they have proclaimed. So I will rest there. I was going to talk about how we get our Oba to do this job, but I think that sort of thing needs a program of its own.
Yes,
that is so that we can all think about how, now we know that it is not illegal. It is lawful for the Oba to declare emancipation for the Yoruba nation. We then need to find a strategy or strategies on how to convince the Oba'S to do what we want them to do. I'm not going to, I mean, I have ideas about that, but I think I'm not going into that today. I think we can do that on Thursday. On Thursday, we can say, how are we going to get our Oba to make this declaration that we want? Thank you very much. I am now ready to take any question.
Hello. Hello. Má padà tí a bá rí àwọn tí wọ́n bá ní ó dà pé mo fẹ́ kí ọ̀rẹ́ àwọn tí kúrò mo fẹ́ kí bàbá wa di Dr. John tí wọ́n bá ní ìbéèrè tí wọ́n fẹ́ bí àbí tí wọ́n bá ní kan tí wọ́n bá ní àfikún sí tí ẹ sọ yìí wọ́n lè bá wa àfikún kó tó di pé màmá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní béèrè mi. Doctor, ṣé ẹ ní àfikún tàbí ìbéèrè sí tí dáàdì ti sọ kalẹ̀ yìí kó tó di pé màmá béèrè ìbéèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn sà? Ẹ wà mute ara yín sà, Dr. John. Ẹ wà mute sà. Ẹ ti mute ara yín sà.
Oh, thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Ẹ ṣé lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gan ni. Àdúpẹ́, and as I used to say, we need to continue thanking our amiable Dr. Oni for his time, research, reading, studies, and all this, for him to bring us, to have gone through, to bring us all these informations, which actually we lawyers, we may not have enough time to go on this thing because we have our different cases. Good. I have a lot of questions to ask, but I will want you to get to the question time before I will start pouring in my questions, which I will want Dr. Oni to answer, or anybody endowed to answer such a question. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Hello? Yes, I'm going clearly, sir. I'm going clear, sir. I'm going, sir. Ẹ bá wa dá sí. I'm going. Okay, Mr. Adébáyọ̀ ẹ ṣé gan ni. Ẹ bá wa dá sí. Question wo lẹ fẹ́ bí lọ bàbá? I'm going, sir. I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, béèrè yín sir.
It's extremely very important. That's a great angle to look at it. But my worry is Tabati publicize this kind of a thing. Ṣé kò ní fún àwọn ọ̀tá